There's been a lot of rumors about child actors in Hollywood recently. What do you make of all that?
Well, it's all true.
So what did you escape unscathed?
I did. I would say I saw a lot of it.
What did you see?
For example, I worked on a children's TV show on a major network. And one of the writers, after we wrapped on the show, after the show was canceled, had incredibly inappropriate relationships with young women like me who were on the show. Young women in my...
How young?
14.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, this was not sexual, but it was objectively grooming. It was inappropriate relationships between an adult and minors because Hollywood goes ahead and it blurs the lines between what is appropriate between adults and children because you're working with adults constantly.
Right.
My entire life. My entire childhood, I spent more time with adults than I did with children. My management team, they were all adults, obviously. Agents, managers, directors, casting directors, producers, wardrobe assistants. You're surrounded by adults constantly. Writers, in this case. And those lines get really blurred. So if a writer on a TV show that you worked on invites you and one of your co-stars out to lunch to talk about another TV show that he's working on, your parents go, oh, okay, yeah. Well, you've worked with him for 2 years at this point. Let's take you to lunch. And then you're sitting here with this girl who's a year older than you and he starts talking about the lesbian fantasies that he has about you and your friend. Like that's nothing happened, but that's the fact that he thought that that was appropriate. The fact that
well, that's a testing behavior.
Yeah. And then the fact that later we're walking around the restaurant and he puts his hand in my friend's back pocket, who's 15 years old. And I was just, I'd get me out of here. Completely inappropriate. She was,
How many of the young people in Hollywood are sold into that, so to speak, by their parents? Now, you characterized your mother as someone who was loath to take you on the Hollywood adventure. But there's no shortage of parents. Is it more common among mothers? Probably.
Yeah.
The cluster B type mothers who use their children to their own advantage, come hell or high water. Jazz Jennings, for example, springs to mind, right? In the most brutal and horrible possible manner, right? But you can see a lot of this on social media. Parents pimping out their children, transforming them as well, and then proclaiming their moral virtue in consequence of the transformation. My child is very, very deviant, but I'm such a wonderful person that I still love them deeply. Right.
But it was them in the
monstrous
first place
behavior.
that pushed them in that direction in the first place. And then
you might say so.
Yeah. And I think another example, did you read I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy?
No, I haven't read it.
Fantastic. And that I think is the most incredible example of what a lot of these younger people. Jeanette McCurdy. She's from iCarly.
Jeanette,
yes.
You haven't talked to her on your podcast.
No, I have not. I believe she talked to Michaela.